Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Black Girls Make Music. My name is Alecia Renece, and I am a Black girl who makes music. Yay! So, the last episode, we kind of talked about the future of this podcast, the future of this segment of this YouTube channel. And I was trying to figure out if I wanted to continue with the podcast or actually just give it up and not necessarily give it up forever, but maybe for a time and then focus on another podcast. And I've decided to do both because why not? Why can't we do both? I feel like so many times we're torn between certain passions and certain expectations that people might have. And when we really check in with ourselves, we really just want to do all of them. And this is coming from someone who considers herself multi passionate. And so, what multi passionate means, or what it means to be multi passionate, is that, again, you have multiple passions. Or people say multiple disciplinary, multidisciplinary, like artists who might be painters and actors and photographers and all that stuff, when there's no real one category for them. It's like they like all things, all things art. And so they call them multidisciplinary artists. Oh my gosh, struggle. So in the same way, I am multi. What is wrong with me? I am I am a person who enjoys many things. I'm multi passionate. I am driven to create different things with different mediums, try different things out. And the thing is, like, we're always told, like, oh, well, you got to just pick one thing, one thing. And I think picking one thing really had me struggling. Picking one thing really had me stressed and feeling like, oh God, like there's something wrong with me because I can't just pick one thing. Like, why is it so hard for me to just pick one thing? And I believe this lie that you can't have it all, or you can't have it all at the same time. And for some things that are certain, like you can't live in California and in Charleston, like literally at the same time. Like you can't be in two places at once, but you can own two properties and just spend time between both properties. And I feel like we can find ways to do multiple things. So a lot of the artists that either follow Black Girls Make Music or who are actually just like musicians that I want to interview, they're multi-passionate. They have multiple things that they do. They're not just singers, they're not just songwriters. And it would be fine if they were just those things, right? That'd be great. But they're also artists, they're also mothers, they're wives, they're bankers, they have full-time jobs, and they also find time to create music. And in the same way, we look at people who hustle and have multiple jobs and things like this and have multiple streams of income, and we say that that's fine. But then if we look at someone else who is, um, writing books and, creating sculptures and, being a photographer, and we call them unfocused, unorganized. We call them a version of like someone being lazy or someone not being committed. And that's just not true. That's just not the truth. And in the same way, that's not true about me. And so Black Girls Make Music, I still want the podcast to go on. I still want to interview people. I still want to highlight other Black women artists. So if you have music, please send it to me because I want to put your music out there. I wanted to get it in front of like a bigger audience. I want to build the community. I want there to be a community of Black female entrepreneurs and artists and makers and this kind of thing where we can support each other, where we can, be each other's rocks, in a place where our art is either like demoralized or just like unappreciated, and where our voice isn't really being heard. That's just a sad truth. That's always been the truth, and as creators, we have a duty, especially as Black creators, we have a duty and a privilege that our ancestors did not have. Our ancestors created things and people took them away, like literally took them away, didn't pay them. They were artisans, they were creators, they were inventors, and people took the credit for that stuff. They were explorers who didn't get the credit they deserved, in their time. And so now as artists, we have a platform, we have the ability to use these platforms to share our art, independently, to reap the benefits of our art, to get paid for our art, to teach other people art, like, and just things in general, like even entrepreneurship. There are things I'm learning from fellow Black people that I didn't know before about, real estate and about just a slew of other things. Like I'm drawing blanks right now, but just everything, health, fitness, survivalist things. Like there are so many resources out there that benefit the Black people. but we're just not given the platform for it to be like the main stage. And so, as I mentioned in the first episode, if you can't find what you're looking for, create it yourself. Create it yourself, because I guarantee there are other people who need what you want to put out. And I was reminded of that. Actually, under one of the videos, someone commented, and I'm sorry, so sorry, sis, I can't remember your name right now, but it'll come back to me, and I'll shout you out on the next episode. But she told me that she found the podcast, and really, the first podcast episode resonated with her when I was talking about creating something yourself. So many times we don't like find what we're looking for, and so we just give up. Let's just give up hope on it, and like, oh well, this person isn't doing what I want to do. Like this person, this I can't find anybody that wants to do what I want to do. And it's like, well, maybe you can be that trailblazer. Maybe you can be that person with 3 different art focuses and soar. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you can be the first person to do what you want to do. And by you doing what you want to do, you're also helping other Black women to do what they want to do. You're also encouraging and inspiring them. And so I felt like, you know what, Alecia, you don't have to choose. You don't have to choose. You can do what you want. You can do this podcast. You can also do other podcasts, because I have multiple interests, And so this podcast isn't going anywhere. This section on YouTube isn't going anywhere. Black Girls Make Music. I still want to shout them out. I still want to interview them. We're in a pandemic, but so what? I still can do those things, and also find new ways to do them. Instead of having like face-to-face, what do you call them? Events. Maybe we can have them virtually. There's always a way to do what you want to do. And so I'm just going to continue to do it to the best of my ability. I was also getting discouraged with the numbers, I think, too. This is just, just being honest. Me looking at numbers, like as analytics, money, it can be really discouraging. I think I mentioned this a million times before. But I think God was really just telling me, stop looking at the numbers. Just do what I gave you to do. Just do what I put in your heart to do, And I'm seeing that even though it might be 5 people who listen to an episode, it's still impacting those 5 people. And you 5 people are worth it. Like, you're worth it. You're worth it to keep going. You're worth it to keep trying. And so are the people that I want to highlight. Like, they're worth it. Their music is worth it. Their stories are worth it. And that's one of the things I've talked about, like with the Free Black Woman. Like, that's another project I'm working on. And that's the whole point. Like, giving Black women a safe place to be all of themselves, to be honest about their experiences, and also be able to pull up other people by telling their stories and becoming free. So again, thank you so much for rolling with me for this long, for Black Girls Make Music. Thank you so much for allowing me space to contemplate and figure out what I'm trying to do, and like just to get it right. As I mentioned before, as a beginner, there are a lot of mistakes that are going to be made. There are a lot of decisions I might change my mind about. And that's the beauty of being a beginner, right? Like you have the space and the time to change your mind. Like, I don't have a cult following, so I wouldn't be letting a whole lot of people down if I stopped doing this podcast, but I'd still be letting you down. And that still matters. And so I'm going to just keep pursuing the passions of my heart. And I encourage you to do the same thing. You don't have to choose one thing. You can have it all. It just might look different than what, you expected it to look like. But you can still live a full life and do all the things you want to do. So that's my encouragement for today. Keep doing you. Your assignment for today is to write down all the things that you've ever wanted to do and figure out how you can do them, even if it's on a smaller scale than like what's in your mind. If you don't have the manpower to get forth that dream, how can you make it smaller where you can handle it? Little tidbits here and there, and just try to find a way to go for it, and give yourself space and time and permission to have multiple interests. So that's my tip for today. Hope you all are doing well. And until next episode, I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.